Let's go straight to my next guest, Conservative peer, Craig Mackinlay, as was MP, but now Lord Mackinlay. Very good morning to you, Craig.
Great to be on, Julia.
Thank you for joining us. So, looking forward to the budget then?
Oh, very much so. I'll be up there in the Peers Gallery. I won't be able to have tomatoes in hand. I think they'll take them away from us Lords going to the Peers Gallery. But I'll be watching very intently, playing the bingo. I think really have my bingo card, see which ones that we've had floating over the last few months actually come to pass. But I mean, the reality is we've had 2 months, 3 months of this. Fly this kite, fly that kite, will this one work?
Yeah.
What it's done, of course, is it stopped all business investment, it stopped the property market, it stopped all of us doing practically anything because we don't know what's around the corner. Yeah. It's the worst budget sort of run-up that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. And we're old enough and old enough to remember when chancellors had to resign if anything came out about the budget, but they've flown kites. And amazing. And then they dropped this idea, oh, it's not going to be an income tax rise, it's this, it's that. I mean, and we had it sort of pretty much confirmed now. We're going to see that scrapping of the two-child benefit cap. But I mean, that's been around for ages, isn't it? But bad news, though, for the Chancellor, because the OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility, we're told now, is going to downgrade UK growth for every year of this Parliament. And given this was the #1 economic plan of this government, as they put in their manifesto, this steely focus on growth, we ain't got any growth. I mean, like 0.1%. I mean, it's just nothing. And even their best case scenario at the moment, the next couple of years, there might be almost 2% in 1 year. This economy is in the doldrums.
Well, completely in the doldrums. I mean, I have to say, and I don't want to talk this country down, far from it. I live in this country. I love it, just as I'm sure most of your listeners do. But we have to sort of be in the realms of reality. If you were an international potential entrepreneur, where would you be casting your eye to make business investments? And I'm very sorry to say, in the current environment of the UK, it would not be the UK. Yeah. It would be virtually anywhere else that actually welcomes business, doesn't tax it to death, doesn't wrap it in so much red tape that it completely strangles. I mean, I have to give Rachel Reeves some very obvious advice. You cannot tax your way to growth.
But they do think they can do that. And we see this on the left, well, the whole of the Labour Party, but the left of the Labour Party especially. We've got the Greens, Zach Polanski, their leader. We've got the Lib Dems. Their whole shtick is always tax the rich, tax the wealthy, and then do more handouts. It's free, free childcare, free food at school, free, what was it? One of the MPs yesterday was talking about, we should have, free public transport. Nothing. We don't even have a free NHS. We pay for it. We just pay for it through our taxes. But they just want to tax those people over there. And then we all get a load of free stuff. That's their whole idea of how the whole economy works.
Whatever this budget holds, and I can guarantee it's going to be bad, what it will mean is lots more free stuff. There's talk about, as you say, the two-child benefit cap. They weren't able to wind back anything to do with benefits at all.
Benefits, yeah.
Ago. So what this will mean is that you and I, Julia, and your many millions of listeners who are at work, will be paying more tax to finance people who are not prepared to go to work. And we're allowing a new lifestyle of staying at home, doing very little, to be better paid.
Well, that was happening on a grand scale in many previous decades as well. But one thing, that's what always got massive time for Ian Duncan-Smith when he was compared to secretary. He did massively get that down before lockdown. And the Tories did fail after it ballooned during lockdown. Let's face it, it would have been just as bad, if not worse, under Labour. Let's not kid ourselves. But the abject failure to get to grips with that and get everyone off the payroll quickly, in 2022, they did fail. I mean, Labour of making things worse, but the Tories did their fair bit to make this bad during the aftermath of the COVID lockdowns.
To my party's credit, before lockdown, before COVID, we were doing okay in making sure there weren't so many workless families, so that the essence of work was something worth going for. But COVID destroyed everything. We were particularly bad in this country, and as you know, Julia, I voted against each and every one of these COVID measures. Yeah. But we were worse than any other country at coming out the other side. We had productivity in the public sector collapsed and has never recovered. We had this assessment of your PIP assessment over the phone continued. because it seemed a struggle to get a lot of our civil service back to work.
Yeah.
So we have not recovered from the whole COVID era, worse than any other country in the world. But let me give you this as a very worrying story. You've got Lakshmi Mittal has decided, seventh wealthiest guy in the country, has decided to go elsewhere, to take his investments, his wealth and everything else. And that is on the back of the non-dom rules and also the increasing tax bill. So I can but guess that Mr. Mittal did not take out too much out of the economy in terms of...
I'm going out on a limb. He wasn't on universal credit.
Let me say, I don't suppose he was using the local library too much or using the NHS. So he was taking next to nothing out. But as the seventh wealthiest guy in the country, he was putting an awful lot of tax in, probably to the tune of at least tens, if not hundreds of millions of pounds. That now disappears completely. Yeah. So you and I have to make up the difference because the spending will not reduce. So many on the left, and Greens are now really occupying the extreme left, really. They somehow rejoice when wealthy people leave. Yeah. I actually cry when wealthy people leave
because they're paying more than their fair share already. But this is it.
We've already got the figures. The top 1% of wealthy people in this country pay 33% of the income tax.
Yeah, I mean,
so if you're looking
at the top 10% pay 60%.
Exactly. So, that old chestnut of those who've got the broader shoulders must bear the cost, they're already doing so. They're doing so massively. And that happened under a Conservative government. But we had a balance. It sort of worked. You can argue about the tax take here and there. Yeah. But it's a very careful balance. You upset the balance, as Art Laffer said very, very carefully, very clearly, and he's saying it a lot of late, again, in this country, you get that balance wrong, you end up with less.
And this is the same also for the Employment Rights Bill. I know Kemi Badenoch, the Tory leader, speaking at the Confederation of British Industry conference, in fact, it's just finished, I think, in the last few moments. And one of the things she's been saying is about, this Employer Rights Bill. Yes, of course we want people to be protected, and there are some things that are wrong with some zero-hours contracts and some employers that are not doing the right thing. But that if you give too many rights, like rights from day one, and you don't allow zero-hours contracts, actually employers don't employ anyone at all. And she's even talking about those Christmas jobs that many of us had as some of our first jobs not existing because an employer's going, well, hold on a minute, they get rights to have a full salary and a full 40-hour week, in January, but I haven't got any work for them in January. I've only got work for them in December when the restaurant or the shop or whatever it is busy. This is the thing. There is a real issue with pretty much nobody, it would appear, at the top echelons of Labour having ever, not just having run a business. I've never run a business, but never even having worked in the private sector.
Yes, well, most of them have obviously worked in unions, they've worked in charity, they've made their way after university working for an MP or Labour Central Office, and so they're pretty much untouched by the real world. I can assure you, I'm in practice chartered accountant still, we've got 30 employees, and many times over the past, we've taken a flyer on somebody new. We're willing to give them a go. Yeah. But now, if this legislation holds, where people get rights from day one, you don't take a flyer, you daren't take a risk that you're going to get sued. And I'm afraid that extends also to the new Renters' Rights Act that came in a couple of weeks ago. If you're a landlord, and I'll put my hands up, I'm a private landlord, I'm one of those evil ones. Mm-hmm. But I was willing to take a flyer on somebody in the past, but now with the difficulties of getting rid of people, anybody who's got a slightly checkered history in terms of a credit rating and all the rest of it, they have got no chance because no landlord will touch them.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing, and it's the same with business as well. Can I ask you? I just want to ask you about something that the Conservative Party chairman has done yesterday, and we've had Kevin Hollinrake. He's been on the show many times. Really, rather like him. He's kind of no nonsense. He gives as good as he gets. But for some reason, he thought it was a good idea yesterday to put out a tweet, basically sharing an image of the Golden Party badge. Now, this was a badge that was awarded to the first 100,000 people who joined Adolf Hitler's Nazis in the 30s, okay? And he did delete the image, but then he shared a link to the Wikipedia page about the badge featuring this, basically saying that the Black and Gold Reform Party badge, which they are going to be handing out, was very similar because it was black and gold. It's a collector's edition party football shirt, and it's got this badge on it. And basically he's sort of basically saying, you know, this is a comparison. He's on the, you know, the eyes looking left emoji, and a sort of, oh, look, you know, look, reform's the same as the Nazis. I have to say, look, again, I've got a lot of time for this MP, but what on earth is a Conservative Party chairman thinking about comparing a party that's, by the way, twice the number of supports as your party currently in the polls, putting out a tweet comparing them to the Nazis?
Well, I'll give, I don't know, I might see Kevin later on today and I will ask.
Well, give him a slapped hand from me.
As you say, he is one of the good ones. He has run a business. He's very knowledgeable. He's one of those that brings experience to politics, which I think we are sorely lacking in at times. I don't know what he was thinking of, but I will give advice both to the echelons of reform and the higher echelons of the Conservative Party. There is an enemy out there, and it is not either of us with each other, because our Venn diagram of how we'd like to see Britain pretty much overlaps on very, very, very many things. I'm not quite sure where reform quite stand on the economy, but no doubt we'll find out in due course. But the real enemy to this country are all the things we've been discussing thus far. They are the socialist left, in either the form of the Labour Party, the Greens, or any other new people coming into the left field, of which there seems to be many.
Yeah.
And I would give them advice. We are and should be friends, because the real enemy sits to the left of us. And I think we're
very interesting.
And work together where we can to make sure this country is the best it can be, and the best it can be is with a right of centre government. And if we have to work together closely as friends to achieve that, then that's great with me. But the enemy is elsewhere.
Conservative peer Lord Mackinlay, very interesting to hear that. Thank you very much.